properties, and one of the property we discussed in the last class. So atomicity we discussed in the last class, guys. Okay, right. And the next one is consistency. So consistency is nothing but what? Now the database must be consistent before and after transaction. So that means once your transaction is going to be performed, either transaction successfully complete or transaction fail, either before transaction or after transaction, whatever the data was there, the data is going to be showing accurate manner. That is called consistency, means regular of data, not irregular. It is called as a regular of data, right? So the database must be consistent before or after transaction. For example, let you see, guys, what it mean. So consistency means to maintain accurate information, guys. Here, for example, suppose the customer X is a customer. This customer, okay. So account balance was, suppose it was showing that account balance was showing us, okay, 10,000 rupees. It was showing us, okay. So it is a account balance of X customer. Suppose this customer is going to be withdraw. Okay, is going to be withdraw or withdraw. Okay, so withdraw money. So suppose it was withdraw money. Okay, 5,000 rupees. He was withdraw money from his account. Then after withdraw here, then what is your minimum balance is showing here? 5,000. Okay, now. So that means before the transaction, whatever the before withdraw transaction or before deposit transaction, before any transaction, whatever the data was there, it was accurate. And after transaction also, suppose I'm going to withdraw, then how much it was showing, guys? Here 5,000 is showing that in your balance account. And after some time, suppose if you need to do, okay, are you going to be deposit here? Are you going to be deposit here? So deposit money, for example, he will be deposit money, suppose 10,000 rupees he will be deposit here, then your balance will be showing as here 15,000. So that means either the transaction, it may be success or it may be fail or whatever it is, but accuracy or accurate information is going to be showing by database. Okay, so that is called as a consistency. Consistency means what we discuss here, a regularity of data. Regularity of data, either your transaction may be success or may be fail, or after or before, your data will be showing accurate manner. So that is called as a consistency, we call it. Okay, and the next one is called as isolation. So what is the mean by isolation? Means multiple transactions occur independently without interference. Without interference. So that means every transaction what we perform, that every transaction is going to be independent. So that means one into a transaction. Okay, now. So suppose if you do withdraw is a one independent, deposit one independent, transfer amount is one independent. So that means whatever the transactions we are going to be performing, every transaction is a independent transaction. One transaction is never interference into another transaction. So that is called a isolation. Okay, isolation means what now? Multiple transactions we can perform, but every transaction should be independent. Every transaction should be independent. Okay, now every transaction should be independent, right? So now that is what it was telling guys here. So that means suppose in this only, so isolation means what now here? The isolation is nothing but, okay, now what we said here, every transaction is independent. Suppose if you do withdraw, so withdraw is a one independent transaction. Okay, now so next, suppose are you going to be deposit? Deposit is a one separate and independent transaction. one separate and independent transaction. Okay, right? Suppose the next one is, for example, transfer amount. So transfer amount. So that is also one separate independent transaction. One separate independent transaction. Okay, now so like this, whatever the transactions we are going to be performed, every transaction will be independent means now I don't want to depending on other transactions, and other transactions cannot be interfere into another transaction. So you can do withdraw, you can do deposit, you can do transfer, you can do check balance, every operation and every transaction what we perform in the banking sector. Okay, so that everything is independently performed here. Okay, so that's why what it was happen, every transaction is independent means, so one transaction is not interference into another transaction. So that kind of problems that we are not facing while you are doing your transactions. Okay, now so because of reason the data is going to be maintained internally, isolation mechanism will be maintained here. Okay, that is what. And this, and the last one is called changes of successful transaction occurs even if the system is failure. Suppose, okay, the durability means what now? Simple, if you want to explain here. Okay, so for example, if you're performing any one transaction, in between transaction, in between, that means while your transaction is going on, suddenly some abnormal termination problems are there. Abnormal, normal terminations. Abnormal terminations are occurred. So abnormal termination means what? Abnormal means unexpectedly. So sometimes we are going to be doing our online transaction, but suddenly some internet will be power cut. Suppose you are using Wi-Fi. So we are using Wi-Fi. What it was happened, we are doing some transaction, in between the transaction, suppose the power cut. Okay, the power gone. So at the time what happened, your Wi-Fi will be stop it. At the time what your transaction will not going to be performed, your transaction will be stopped there, and it will be sometime it will be fail, it was showing, or your transaction will be stopping there only. Okay, otherwise sometime we are going to be doing in the mobile also, we are doing some online transaction, suddenly your data was not there, so your mobile internet data is suddenly over. So what it was happening, your transaction, in the middle of the transaction only, your transaction will be stopped or your transaction will be failed. But this kind of abnormal means what now? Unexpectedly. So some unexpected problems are occurred while your transaction is going on. Unexpectedly, some problems are occurred. Your maybe your transaction may be terminated, maybe your transaction will be failed. But in that cases also, whatever the database information is maintained here, that information will not be affected. Will not be affected. Yes or no? So your information will be as it is. It was going to be happen. Okay, if any abnormal terminations wise, or if any abnormal terminations are occurred while you're doing your transactions in between, so there is nothing problem of your data which was there on the database. Okay, now so that will be not, that means the transaction abnormal termination problem is not affected on your data, and your database data, whatever it was having in that database memory, the data will be as it is, it will be showing us. Okay, now so without having any problem of your data also as it is, it will be there. Okay, so this is called a durability. So that means these are the guys here, the four properties every database is internally maintained. That is the reason why, sir, databases are accuracy and without having any problems, how the transactions will be maintained properly or systematically means in with the help of what now? Acid properties. So whatever the transaction we are performing on database, okay, or through online applications, through whatever the operations or whatever the transactions we perform, every transaction in the proper systematical way it will be performed, and that will not affected into your database data, and your database data as it is, it will be with accuracy maintained by your database servers. Because of reason, internally these all databases are going to be maintained as the techniques. So atomicity and what is next, consistency and isolation and durability. So these are the properties will go to maintain your transactions in proper systematical way. Okay now, so these properties are having inbuilt, these are the inbuilt in your databases guys here. Okay, these properties and these techniques are inbuilt, every database is going to be have. So that is the reason your transactions will be perfectly with the accuracy, with the consistency. Okay, it was going to be performed, right? So these are the transactions and transactions behind how ACID properties are working. Okay, how ACID properties are working, right? Now, so later this is what PCL language commands guys. Okay, right. And the next concept is in our SQL server of SQL, subquery. The next topic, subquery or nested query. Subquery or nested query. Subquery or nested query. Okay, right. So guys here, as of now, whatever we done that operation, whatever we perform operations, we done those operations with a single query statement we done. With a single query statement we done. Okay, right. And now we can see it here. Sometimes what it was happen with only single query statement through every operation or every requirement we can't fulfill. Okay, now. So for example, let you see. For example, suppose I'm asking one small requirement, we are going to be do it here. Now, for example, let us see guys. This is one of our table in database. Okay, and there are so many employees information we store, like 15 employees information we have it. So out of these 15 employees information, out of these 15 employees information, so what is my question here? My requirement is what it from this table. What it is from this table. Our requirement is what now here? Okay, write a query to display employee details. Employee details who are earning, who are earning, who are earning second highest salary. Okay, so this is one small requirement for us guys. Okay, so what is our requirement here? I want to retrieve, I want to display employee details. That means complete employee details I want to display. Which employee details I want to know about here? I want to know about a second highest salary employee. So that means your table is there, and in your table there are number of employees there. For example, there are 1000 employees data is stored under table. So in this 1000 employees, in this 1000 employees, which employee is earning or which employee is getting the second highest salary, I need to find out now. So, but in my table, there are 1000 employees data is there. It means that 1000 rows are there. So out of 1000 rows, who was getting second highest salary, that information, first I need to find out that. And after that, that person details also I need to know. I need to find out here. So in such a cases, a normal queries are not supporting to us. That means select a star from table where condition or any other conditions you can use. We are not getting that information because with a single line or single query statement through that kind of activities, we can't do it. Okay now, so that's why, so where we can't fulfill our requirement by using of a simple query. Okay, so now immediately you have to understand guys here. Okay, let me go for subquery mechanism, or let me write nested queries. Okay now, so when our requirements, when user requirements are not fulfilled with a simple queries, with a simple queries, then there the user is going to be creating, or the user is going to be writing what now, nested queries. So with the help of nested queries, okay, he will be getting some, or he will be doing some operations over databases. Okay, now suppose this requirement if I want to fulfill, definitely I should write a subquery statement to finding second highest salary employee details. So like this, there are some operations will be there. Those operations information we need to get here, definitely we need to write some nested queries we want to write. So in that cases, the people was using subquery technique. So subquery is one of the technique. Okay, it's one of the technique to use to fulfill your user requirements, which is not possible to do a simple query. Okay, a simple query through whenever user requirements are not achieved, user requirements are not reached, there the people are using one more technique that is called a subquery technique. Okay, now so this is one small example, guys. Okay, so now what is this subquery and types and how to go to write this nested queries, that all we will be discussing. Okay, so simply a subquery is nothing but a query inside another query is called as subquery, even though we can say nested query also we can say, even though we can say nested query also we can say. Okay, now this is subquery statement. Okay, now a query inside another query is called as a subquery statement. So now this subquery, when you want to write the syntax here, so normal. So within the single line statement only, we are writing multiple queries. So now select a star from where, and here I want to write a condition. Okay, condition after, again we are writing some select a star from so and so table. Okay, so now close. So like this, we can write here multiple queries in one line statement. Okay, so a query inside another query is called as what now, subqueries. Okay, but in this subquery syntax, carefully observe, there are two levels of queries we are going to be using in this subquery mechanism. What is that means? In the simple syntax, you can see this is whatever the outside we are writing here. This is called as outer query, and this is called as the inner query. Okay, so that means by seeing of this syntax, what you can say here, a subquery is having, okay, two more queries, guys, two more queries. Okay, those are first one is called as a outer or parent query, we can say, and second one is called as a inner or child query, we can say, guys, inner or child query. So that means a subquery is having two more, one is inner and one is outer. There are two types of queries we have it in this statement. Okay, right. But here the question is, okay, when we have a single query means we can easily understand, okay, single query means, okay, single query is going to be executed, there is nothing problem. But in the subquery is not only single queries, we are writing multiple queries in a single line statement. So that means I said no, outer queries are there and inner query also there. So then outer query and inner query, the both combination we are writing subqueries. At this moment we are getting a doubt. What is our doubt here, sir? How this subquery is executed, sir? Okay, how this subquery is executed? So some people saying that first inner query later outer query, or somebody saying that first outer query later inner query. So in which way subqueries are executed? Okay, this kind of confusion was occurred. Okay, so that is what now, that to overcome that confusion, see here about the subqueries are how it was classified outside here. Okay, so as per the execution of subquery, it again again classified into two ways. So first one is called as a non-correlated subquery, and second one is called as what now? Correlated subquery. Correlated subquery. So as per the execution, as per the execution process of subquery, it again classified into two ways. One is we called as non-correlated and one is we called as correlated. But what is the differences non-correlated and correlated means? Here, the way of execution mechanism will be different as here. So non-correlated, what it was happen in this non-correlated subquery mechanism, what it was happen? First, inner query, is executed and returns. Okay, query executed and return value based on inner query return value. Later, inner query return value later outer query outer query will execute. Outer query will execute and produce and produce and produce the result final result. Okay now, so this is non-correlated subquery, sir. How it was executed means, first it was executing what now guys? Here inner query executed, and of course after executing of inner query, it returns some values. And whatever the inner subquery or inner query, whatever it was returning value, so based on this value, outer queries are executed. Okay now, so this is what we called as a non-correlated. So first inner query execute and returning some value. Based on inner query value, outer query will execute and finally producing some result. Okay, now this is the mechanism of non-correlated subqueries. And the next one is correlated subqueries, guys. Correlated subquery is quite opposite of a non-correlated subquery. So in this mechanism, this correlated subquery mechanism, first outer query is executed. Outer query is executed and return some values based on outer query return value later inner query will execute and produce the final result. So that means when you see this definition guys here, so correlated definition and correlated the way of execution mechanism. It's a completely quite opposite of your non-correlated. Okay, na? So this is what the way. So that means finally what you concluded here, subqueries are executing in two ways. Subqueries are executed. First one, inner and outer. This is the way it will be executed, or else outer and inner. So that means in any manner the subquery may be or it can be in execute now. Okay, so that's why we can't say exactly inner and outer, inner only first, outer only last. We can't go further because there are two ways execution process will be there. So that is the reason, as per the execution process of subqueries, these are again classified into two categories here. So one category of subquery is non-correlated and one category of subquery is called a correlated. But these classifications, how it was going to be done, okay, how it was done means based on the execution mechanism. So what I said non-correlated, what I said first inner, outer, and your correlated first outer, later inner. Okay, na? So this is what the definition, guys. And now we will see the first thing is non-correlated subqueries. First we will check out, and later I will show you correlated. So non-correlated, that information and definition I was given, right? Now, but here in this non-correlated subqueries, again, there are three types of subqueries are there. That is called as a single row subquery. Second one is called as a multiple rows subquery. Multiple row subquery. So non-correlated subquery categories are again two types of subqueries are there. One is a single row subquery, one is a multiple row subquery. One is a multiple row subquery. These are the two things. And now let me see what is single row and what is multiple row. So first of all, when you come to single row subquery, let you check out here. So when your subquery is called as a single row subquery means simply here, when a subquery, when a subquery, when a subquery returns, when a subquery returns a single value, returns a single value, then we called as, then we called as, then we called as single row subquery. Okay, so single row subquery when we called as means okay, whenever a subquery returns, okay, whenever a subquery returns only one value. Okay, one is here we can observe here. So when a subquery returns a single value, then we called as a single row subqueries. Okay, now right, this is definition of single row. But this is single row subqueries, that means in this single row subqueries, in the single row subquery, we can use we can use we can use only those operators, only those operators, only those operators are like we are using these operators: equal, less than, greater than, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, and not is equals to. So these operators only I can use. Okay, so whenever we are using these operators, then immediately you can identify this is a single row subquery. Okay, so by using of their operators, we can identify this is a single row or multiple row or correlated or non-correlated. We can go to identify. So let you see all one by one we discuss now, then you can finally understand how to identify. Okay, now right. But in single row subqueries, what it was telling guys, only these operators only I can use. Sir, why, sir, only we are using these operators? Why not like in operator or other between operator or some other operators? Why we can't use it means the reason also there. The reason is what now? What is the reason we said here? Subquery returns single value. And every single value comparison purpose, every single value comparison purpose, we are using only these operators. And especially if you remember, these operators are we are using for only comparing single value purpose. For example, let you see. For example, suppose I'm going to writing like this, some x variable, x is equals to 10. And now I'm giving x is equals to 10 comma 20 I'm giving. Okay, x is equals to 10 comma 20. Let you tell me guys here. Let you tell me. So in this x is equals to 10 is correct or x is equals to 10 comma 20 is correct? Which is correct declaration? First one or second one? Come on guys. All of you open your chat box. Open your chat box and give response. First one is a correct declaration or second one? Yeah, first one only. So this is the correct way declaration. This is right. This is right. And this is a wrong declaration. This is a wrong declaration. So we cannot go for x is equals to 10 comma 20 is impossible. We cannot declare like this. Okay now? So x is equals to 10. This is the way only we are declaring a single value. So that means here equal operator I'm using for single value comparing. But I can't go for 10 comma 20 like this. Same question if I'm asking now. Suppose x less than 10. Is it correct or x less than 10 comma 20 is correct? Which one is correct comparison? First one or second one? Again first one. Again first one. Because second one is not correct. And we can't write also second one. It is a syntactical errors. So now this is the right here. Okay, this is the right here. Okay. And this is wrong declaration. This is wrong declaration. So that means what you understanding here, your equal operator, your less than operator, or less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, not equals to. So these are all operators, if you carefully identify, these are all are going to be using for single value comparing purpose. But multiple values comparison purpose, we can't use these operators. Okay, by this that is one thing. And another reason is what now, your single row subquery. Your single row subquery is always returning here one value. So your single row subquery is always returning one value. So one value when it was returned, then I want to compare only one value, right? So when your subquery return only single value means I want to compare single value only. So single value comparison purpose, which operator is suitable? Which operator is suitable? So those operators I'm using as usual. That's the common point that everyone knows. Okay, so same thing is here also happen. The thing is what now, your single row returning only single value, and single value comparison purpose we are using these operators only. Okay now, but multiple, suppose your subquery returns multiple values. Suppose your subquery returns multiple values, then we can't use these operators. We can't use these operators. If when your subquery returns more than one value, when your subquery returns more than one value, then we are using what now guys here? There's some other operators we are using, but not equal operator is not supported at the time. Less than greater than operators are not supported at the time when the subquery returns more than one value. Okay, so now you can understand one by one. Okay, right, this is single row, and in single row these operators only I can. Okay, and these operators how we can means, first you have to check your subquery is returning single value or multiple values. So first we are checking. So when subquery is running single value, then these operators. Suppose your subquery returns multiple values, then some other operators. That other operators what we will discuss, okay, in multiple row subquery statement. Okay, so these are what now guys here, the definition of a single row. Okay, and later in one more is there, multiple row. So what is multiple row you can understand, but before that single row examples if you see, then multiple is very easy to understand. Okay, right, and single row examples guys here we will start it tomorrow. So maximum tomorrow and day after tomorrow only your class will be up to 7. Okay, and maybe from the Thursday onwards, as usual, your timings will be regular, like 6 to 7:30 it will be started. Okay, so tomorrow and day after tomorrow, this timing I will take it here. From Thursday onwards, your as usual time we will come to you. Okay, na? Right, yes. Thank you so much, and we will meet on tomorrow.